30 Days to Abundance. The daily ritual brings success and prosperity. What if I told you that in just 30 days, your entire reality could shift? That the way you wake up, the way you think, the way you move through life could align you with a frequency of abundance so strong, prosperity would no longer feel like a distant dream, but a daily reality? Most people believe success is about luck, talent, or being in the right place at the right time. But the truth is, prosperity begins with rituals. Small, intentional actions done every single day that reprogram your subconscious, elevate your energy, and attract opportunities you never imagined possible. And here's the secret nobody tells you. Abundance isn't found in some hidden treasure. It's built into your daily habits. The way you think when you wake up, the gratitude you express before the day begins, the words you speak to yourself, the energy you bring into your body, the consistency that compounds into unstoppable momentum. In this video, I'll guide you step by step through timeless principles, adapted into daily rituals that you can start today. By the end of these 30 days, you won't just believe in abundance, you'll be living it. So, if you're ready to unlock the prosperity code, if you're ready to experience wealth, success, and opportunity flowing into your life like never before, stay with me, because your new reality begins right now. Topic 1. Why daily rituals unlock abundance. Have you ever noticed how successful people seem to operate on a completely different frequency? They don't stumble into abundance by chance. They design it. And one of the most powerful tools they use is simple but often overlooked: the power of daily rituals. Think about it. Every single day, you already have rituals. You wake up, maybe you check your phone, you grab coffee, you rush into your routine. But here's the truth. Most people's rituals are unconscious. They're habits shaped by stress, scarcity, and distractions. And when your daily rituals are born from scarcity, you unconsciously reinforce more scarcity in your life. Now, imagine if you flipped that switch. What if your rituals were intentional? What if you woke up each day with practices that signal to your mind, your body, and even the universe, I am aligned with success, wealth, and prosperity? Suddenly, your mornings aren't random. They become powerful launch pads into abundance. Science confirms this. Neuroscience shows us that repeated rituals rewire neural pathways. Psychology shows us that consistent habits create identity. And spiritual wisdom, from ancient traditions to modern manifestation, tells us the same thing. Daily rituals are gateways to abundance. But here's the part most people miss. Abundance is not about doing something once and hoping for instant magic. It's about creating a pattern, a rhythm, that aligns you with prosperity every single day. It's about building rituals that turn abundance from a vague wish into a lived reality. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly owned your morning? Not just woke up and rushed, but consciously designed those first sacred minutes of your day? That's where abundance begins. Those minutes set your frequency. They tell your subconscious mind whether you're preparing for a day of struggle or a day of success. I want you to think of your daily ritual as a seed. Every morning you plant it. Some people plant seeds of chaos, snoozing alarms, endless scrolling, self-doubt. Others plant seeds of prosperity, gratitude, visualization, affirmations, clarity. And the harvest always matches the seed. You cannot expect prosperity when your rituals are reinforcing lack. In the next 30 days, the goal is not perfection. The goal is alignment. You will learn how to create a simple, repeatable ritual that takes only minutes but carries the power to reprogram your mind and magnetize abundance into your life. And this is not theory. It's proven by thousands of years of wisdom and supported by modern science. Here's the promise. If you commit to these 30 days, your mindset will shift. Your energy will shift, and the results you see in your life, financial opportunities, relationships, personal growth, will reflect that shift. Because abundance is not luck. It is a pattern you create through ritual. So, let's make something clear right now. This is not just about routines. This is about transformation. A ritual is a signal to yourself that you are no longer living on autopilot. You are consciously stepping into the frequency of success and prosperity. And once you lock into that frequency, everything begins to change. As we move into the next topics, I'll guide you step by step through the structure of this ritual, how to set it up, what to include, how to stay consistent, and how to measure your progress. You'll discover why gratitude, visualization, affirmations, and even small physical actions can rewire your destiny. But before we go there, I want you to sit with this thought. Your rituals create your reality. The life you're living today is not just the result of big decisions, but of tiny, repeated rituals. If you want prosperity tomorrow, you must plant prosperity today. And the good news? You're about to learn exactly how. Topic 2. Designing your morning for success and prosperity. If the first step is understanding that rituals shape your reality, the second step is to consciously design the most important ritual of your day, your morning. Why the morning? Because it sets the tone for everything that follows. A distracted, rushed morning creates a distracted, rushed life. But a focused, empowered morning builds a foundation of prosperity that carries you through the entire day. Think about it. Every single successful person you admire, from billionaires to thought leaders, protects their mornings like sacred ground. They don't leave it to chance. They don't wake up and immediately get lost in notifications, stress, or chaos. They begin with intention, and that intention translates into results. Your morning is a mirror. If you treat it casually, your life will reflect casual outcomes. But if you treat it with purpose, your life will reflect prosperity. That's why this 30-day abundance challenge begins with the morning ritual. It is the gateway to success, abundance, and manifestation. So how do we design it? First, we need clarity. A morning ritual is not about copying someone else's routine blindly. It's not about forcing yourself into a rigid structure that doesn't fit your lifestyle. It's about creating a sequence that aligns with your goals, your energy, and your vision of prosperity. Here's the key. The first 20 to 30 minutes after you wake up are the most powerful window of the day. In that short period, your subconscious mind is wide open, your brain waves are in a highly suggestible state, and you are most receptive to new programming. If you feed your mind scarcity in that window, like news filled with fear, emails filled with pressure, or endless scrolling on social media, you hardwire scarcity into your nervous system. But if you feed your mind prosperity, gratitude, affirmations, visualization, you hardwire abundance. Let's get practical. Designing your morning for success means asking, what do I want my life to reflect 30 days from now? If you want clarity, your morning must include silence. If you want prosperity, your morning must include visualization of wealth and opportunities. If you want energy, your morning must include movement. Your ritual becomes the blueprint of your future. One of the simplest yet most powerful structures you can follow is this: silence, gratitude, visualization, affirmation, and movement. Think of it as the 5 pillars of your abundance ritual. Just 3 to 5 minutes on each can completely transform your day. Imagine waking up, sitting in silence for a moment of awareness, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, closing your eyes to visualize your most prosperous self, speaking affirmations of abundance out loud, and then moving your body, whether it's stretching, a walk, or a short workout. In less than half an hour, you've reprogrammed your subconscious, raised your vibration, and aligned yourself with prosperity. And here's the beauty. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to spend hours meditating or journaling. Consistency beats intensity. What matters is that you design a morning ritual you can commit to daily, one that becomes a non-negotiable part of your identity. Because once your morning changes, your days change. And when your days change, your life changes. So, I want you to ask yourself, what does my current morning ritual say about me? Is it reinforcing scarcity or prosperity? Is it keeping me stuck in autopilot? Or is it pulling me toward the life I know I'm capable of creating? The next 30 days are your opportunity to reset that answer. Design your morning and you design your future. This is where abundance begins. Topic 3. The science of abundance, reprogramming your subconscious mind. Here's something most people never stop to realize. 95% of your life is controlled by your subconscious mind. Think about that. The way you think, the way you act, the decisions you make, even the opportunities you see or miss, they are all filtered through subconscious programming. If that programming is wired for scarcity, then no matter how hard you try consciously, you'll keep repeating patterns of lack. But if that programming is wired for prosperity, success flows almost effortlessly. This is why abundance isn't just about motivation, it's about reprogramming. Daily rituals are the tools to do exactly that. They bypass the noise of the conscious mind and directly plant new seeds into the subconscious. And once your subconscious accepts prosperity as your default, your reality begins to transform. Let's go deeper. Neuroscientists have discovered something called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. In simple terms, your brain is not fixed, it's rewired by repetition. That's why rituals are so powerful. Every time you repeat gratitude, affirmations, or visualization, you're carving new neural pathways, teaching your brain to operate from abundance instead of fear. Psychologists also remind us that habits shape identity. You don't just do a ritual, you become the kind of person who lives prosperity. Every affirmation, every visualization is like telling your subconscious, "This is who I am." And your subconscious doesn't argue. It takes instructions literally and begins adjusting your behavior, your focus, and even your opportunities to match that identity. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. The subconscious mind is most open during specific states. Right after you wake up, right before you fall asleep, and during moments of meditation or deep relaxation. That's why the morning ritual is so crucial. At that time, your brain is in alpha and theta brainwave states, which are the same states hypnotists use to install new beliefs. In other words, your morning ritual is your self-hypnosis for success. Now let's tie this back to prosperity. Scarcity is often not real. It's a program. You can be surrounded by opportunities but blind to them because your subconscious is tuned to lack. Imagine your subconscious as a radio dial. If you're tuned into the scarcity frequency, all you'll hear is noise, stress, problems, obstacles. But if you shift the dial to abundance, suddenly you hear music, ideas, possibilities, solutions, wealth. The opportunities were always there, but your subconscious determines whether you notice them. Daily rituals, repeated for 30 days, change your frequency. They rewrite the code. They shift your subconscious from being an enemy that sabotages you into an ally that attracts wealth and success. That's why consistency is so important. One day of affirmations won't change much, but 30 days of affirmations begin to create new identity, new wiring, new reality. And don't underestimate the physical effects. Studies in epigenetics show that thoughts and emotions influence gene expression. When you practice abundance rituals, you're not only shifting your mind, you're shifting your biology. Stress hormones decrease, positive neurotransmitters increase, and your body literally begins to align with prosperity. So, if you've ever wondered why affirmations, visualizations, and gratitude exercises sometimes feel repetitive, here's your answer. Repetition is the language of the subconscious. The more you repeat, the deeper the imprint, and the deeper the imprint, the faster your external life catches up with your internal belief. Here's the simple truth. You cannot create prosperity with a mind programmed for scarcity, but you can reprogram it, and your daily ritual is the key. As we move forward, you'll learn the exact prosperity affirmations, visualization techniques, and gratitude practices that rewire your subconscious in just 30 days. This is the science of abundance, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your mornings or your potential the same way again. Topic 4. Gratitude as the foundation of prosperity. If there is one practice that unlocks prosperity faster than any other, it's gratitude. Gratitude is the gateway emotion, the state of being that transforms scarcity into abundance instantly. Why? Because gratitude shifts your focus. Scarcity focuses on what is missing. Gratitude focuses on what is present, and whatever you focus on expands. Most people live in a constant loop of not enough. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough recognition, not enough opportunities. That mindset is a scarcity program running on autopilot. But the moment you stop and say, "I am grateful," you interrupt the program. Gratitude creates a new pattern in your subconscious, a new lens through which you see the world. Suddenly, what was once invisible, opportunities, blessings, resources, becomes visible. Science backs this up. Studies in positive psychology show that people who practice daily gratitude experience higher levels of happiness, less stress, stronger immune systems, and greater resilience. But beyond the science, there's also a spiritual truth. Gratitude is a magnet. It attracts more of what you appreciate. When you say thank you for the small things, you open the door for bigger things to enter. So, how do we make gratitude the foundation of prosperity? By turning it into a daily ritual. Not something random, not something occasional, but a consistent practice that reprograms your subconscious and raises your vibration. Here's a simple exercise. Every morning, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Keep it specific. Don't just write, "I'm grateful for my family." Write, "I'm grateful for the laughter I shared with my child yesterday." Don't just write, "I'm grateful for money." Write, "I'm grateful for the unexpected payment that came through this week." Specificity deepens the emotion, and emotion is what imprints the subconscious. Next, don't just write, feel. Gratitude without feeling is just words on paper. Gratitude with feeling is transformation. Close your eyes, breathe, and let your body experience the thankfulness. When your nervous system feels gratitude, it can't feel fear or lack at the same time. Gratitude and scarcity cannot coexist in the same moment. And here's a powerful tip. Practice gratitude not only for what you already have, but for what you are manifesting. Be grateful in advance. Say, "I am grateful for the wealth flowing into my life," even before you see it in your bank account. This sends a powerful signal to your subconscious and to the universe. "I already believe it is mine." That belief accelerates manifestation. Some of the most successful and wealthy people in history attribute their prosperity to gratitude. Billionaires keep gratitude journals. Visionaries begin their days with gratitude meditation. They know something simple but profound. When you're grateful, you're rich, no matter what your bank account says. And that richness attracts even more. So, as part of your 30-day abundance ritual, gratitude is non-negotiable. Every day you plant seeds of thankfulness, and those seeds grow into prosperity. Remember this: wealth without gratitude is poverty in disguise. But gratitude, even without wealth, creates a richness that inevitably draws wealth toward you. Gratitude is not just a nice idea. It's the foundation of success, the cornerstone of abundance, the entry point to prosperity. And the more you practice it, the more it becomes who you are. So let me ask you, what are you grateful for right now, in this moment? Hold it, feel it, and watch as gratitude begins to open doors you never thought possible. Topic 5. The power of visualization. Seeing your abundant future. One of the most underestimated tools for abundance is visualization. At first glance, it may seem like wishful thinking, but the truth is deeper. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you visualize with clarity and emotion, you are giving your subconscious instructions. Over time, it begins to align your actions, decisions, and opportunities with those images. Visualization is not daydreaming. It is rehearsal for the life you are choosing to create. Think of world-class athletes. Before they ever compete, they have already run the race thousands of times in their minds. They see themselves crossing the finish line, hear the crowd, feel the weight of victory, and live the moment as if it were already happening. When the competition arrives, their minds and bodies are ready because the blueprint has been installed. The same principle applies to abundance. If you consistently see yourself successful and prosperous, your subconscious starts treating that image as truth, guiding you to make it real. The subconscious works like a projector. Whatever you hold inside becomes the movie you see outside. If you feed it pictures of limitation and scarcity, life reflects that. If you feed it images of prosperity, your reality slowly begins to shift in that direction. That is why visualization must be clear, specific, and repeated. It builds an inner pattern until abundance feels normal. Once it feels normal inside, it becomes possible outside. The secret is to fully immerse yourself. Do not picture vague wealth. Picture yourself opening your banking app and seeing the balance you desire. Do not imagine just any home. Walk through your dream house in your mind, noticing the sound of your footsteps on the floor, the way sunlight comes through tall windows, the scent of fresh flowers on the counter. The more senses you involve, the stronger the imprint becomes. And the key is to feel it as if it is happening right now. The subconscious only accepts the present moment. So when you feel abundance now, you attract it faster. Emotion is the fuel. Images without feeling are hollow. If you want visualization to work, you must feel the gratitude, joy, and certainty of your abundant future. That emotion locks the image into the subconscious, turning it from imagination into identity. Each time you rehearse this state, you are strengthening the signal you broadcast to the world. This signal is what many describe as the law of attraction, like attracts like. If you repeatedly hold the vibration of abundance, life starts reflecting it back through opportunities, relationships, and resources. What looks like coincidence is simply resonance. You cannot embody abundance in your mind every day without eventually encountering it in your reality. Of course, one session will not undo years of scarcity thinking. Visualization requires consistency. 5 minutes a day is more powerful than one long session once in a while. Over 30 days, your brain starts creating new pathways. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. And when prosperity feels natural, you begin living as if it already exists. Once you live that way, manifestation becomes inevitable. If you doubt whether visualization works, consider this. Everything around you was once an idea. Your home, your career, even the clothes you are wearing started as a mental picture. Visualization is not optional, it is constant. The question is whether you are choosing the images consciously or letting old patterns choose them for you. By practicing daily, you take control of what your subconscious is rehearsing. Over the next 30 days, make visualization part of your ritual. Close your eyes, create the picture, add emotion, and repeat. Watch how small shifts appear. Unexpected encounters, creative ideas, subtle opportunities. These are not accidents. They are confirmations that your inner movie is becoming your outer life. Prosperity has always been near, waiting for you to see it clearly and accept it fully. Once you do, abundance stops being a dream and becomes your reality. Topic 6. The language of prosperity. Affirmations that rewire your mind. The words you speak hold immense power. They are not just sounds carried through the air. They are commands directed to your subconscious mind and signals broadcast to the universe. Every time you speak, you affirm something about your identity, your beliefs, and your expectations. If those words are rooted in doubt, limitation, and lack, you are unknowingly reinforcing scarcity. But when your words are rooted in strength, possibility, and abundance, you begin to rewire your inner world in a way that reshapes your outer reality. Affirmations are not empty slogans. They are conscious choices to speak the language of prosperity until it becomes the natural voice of your mind. The subconscious mind does not argue with you. It accepts whatever you repeat often enough. If you constantly say, "I can't," "I don't have enough," or "things never work out for me," the subconscious takes those statements as facts and begins to arrange your behavior and perception to confirm them. It filters your reality through those words, blinding you to opportunities and reinforcing the same cycle of struggle. But when you declare, "I am abundant," "I attract opportunities effortlessly," or "wealth flows to me in expected and unexpected ways," you install new programming. These affirmations are like seeds. At first, they may feel foreign or even untrue, but with repetition and emotion, they begin to take root. The subconscious gradually accepts them as identity, and once that happens, your behavior shifts to match. Consider the way we learn any language. At first, the words feel awkward. They don't roll off the tongue naturally. But with practice, fluency comes. Affirmations are the language of prosperity, and the more you speak them, the more fluent you become. Eventually, the statements that once felt like forced declarations become the way you genuinely think and speak about yourself. That shift in language changes your energy, and that energy changes your life. You cannot speak words of abundance daily without gradually seeing prosperity show up in the form of opportunities, resources, and breakthroughs. Affirmations work because they do more than program the subconscious. They also shape the emotions you feel in the present moment. When you speak prosperity into existence, you create an emotional state aligned with confidence, gratitude, and possibility. That emotional vibration is magnetic. It attracts experiences that reflect the feeling you are generating. For example, if you wake each morning and declare, "Today I am open to wealth, success, and joy," you step into the day with a different posture, a different energy, and a different lens. You carry yourself with more certainty, and people respond to that. You notice possibilities that you would have overlooked if your language had been filled with doubt and limitation. Skeptics often dismiss affirmations as unrealistic, but this is because they confuse affirmations with wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is passive. Affirmations are active. They are not about ignoring reality. They are about rewriting reality by first rewriting the beliefs that create it. Every achievement, every transformation, every breakthrough begins with words. History is filled with leaders, visionaries, and innovators who declared what they intended long before it manifested. Their affirmations set the course of their actions and energized their persistence. You are doing the same when you commit to the daily practice of speaking prosperity into your life. To make affirmations truly effective, you must not only say the words, but also embody the emotion behind them. Saying, "I am abundant" in a flat, lifeless tone will not reprogram much. But when you speak it with conviction, when you feel the gratitude as if it were already true, your subconscious receives it as reality. This is why affirmations are most powerful when practiced in front of a mirror or during moments of calm focus. The combination of sight, sound, and feeling multiplies their impact. Over 30 days of repetition, you are carving new mental grooves, replacing scarcity-driven thought loops with empowering and abundant ones. There will be moments when affirmations feel uncomfortable, almost like lies. This is natural. The old subconscious programming resists change because it wants to protect the familiar, even if the familiar is limiting. But persistence overrides resistance. The more consistently you speak affirmations, the more normal they become. Eventually, you reach a tipping point where the affirmations stop being something you are trying to believe and start being the truth of who you are. That is when transformation accelerates and prosperity begins to feel like your default setting. Affirmations are more than just a personal tool. They are a way of broadcasting your frequency to the world. The energy behind your words ripples outward. People sense your confidence, they feel your positivity, and they respond to it. Opportunities come not only because your subconscious is tuned to recognize them, but also because others are drawn to your energy. This is why leaders who speak vision and abundance inspire action in those around them. When you use affirmations, you are not only reshaping your mind, you are influencing the environment you move through. Over the next 30 days, make affirmations a daily ritual. Begin and end your day with them. Say them out loud, write them down, and repeat them until they flow naturally. Use words that declare abundance as if it already belongs to you. Speak with gratitude, confidence, and certainty. Watch how your emotions shift, your choices sharpen, and your reality begins to bend toward your declarations. Words are seeds, and the garden you will harvest in the future depends on the affirmations you plant today. By speaking the language of prosperity, you are not hoping for a better life. You are creating one, sentence by sentence, affirmation by affirmation. Topic 7. Energy and movement. Activating the body for prosperity. Your body is not separate from your prosperity. The energy you create through movement is directly connected to the way you think, feel, and act in the world. Most people underestimate how much their physical state determines their mental state. When your body is sluggish, tense, or drained, your thoughts follow the same pattern, clouded by fatigue and negativity. But when your body is alive, strong, and energized, your mind becomes sharper, your emotions brighter, and your confidence undeniable. Movement is not just about health. It is about abundance. It is about reminding yourself each day that prosperity is not only an idea you hold in your mind, but an energy you embody through action. Think about mornings when you wake up and immediately feel heavy, your body weighed down by stress, lack of sleep, or poor habits. On those days, your motivation to pursue opportunities is lower, your decisions are hesitant, and your focus is scattered. Compare that with mornings when you begin with a walk, a stretch, or even a few minutes of conscious breathing. The shift is immediate. Your blood flows, your posture straightens, your energy rises, and suddenly the same day that once felt like a burden becomes filled with possibility. This is not coincidence, it is physiology. The state of your body becomes the state of your mind, and the state of your mind becomes the state of your life. Energy attracts energy. The world responds not to what you say you want, but to the energy you radiate. If you want to attract abundance, you must carry the frequency of abundance in your body. That means creating a ritual of movement that elevates you. It doesn't need to be extreme. You don't need hours at the gym or complicated routines. What matters is consistency and intention. 10 minutes of stretching, 20 minutes of brisk walking, a short session of yoga or dance. These are not just exercises. They are signals to your subconscious that you are awake, alive, and ready to receive prosperity. Every time you move with purpose, you are programming your mind to associate your body with energy, vitality, and expansion. Science confirms what ancient wisdom has always taught. Movement changes chemistry. When you move, your brain releases endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin, the very chemicals that enhance mood, confidence, and focus. This natural cocktail of energy makes you feel more capable, more resilient, and more inspired. When you feel this way, you take bolder actions, and those actions create results. Prosperity is not just about waiting for the right opportunity. It is about being in a state where you can recognize and seize opportunities. Movement puts you in that state. It shifts you from passivity into action, from doubt into confidence, from scarcity into expansion. There is also a symbolic power in movement. Every step you take, every stretch, every breath reminds your subconscious that you are moving forward. Stagnation creates stagnation. Momentum creates momentum. If you want your finances, your career, or your relationships to move, you must first move your body. The body is the bridge between the inner and outer world, and when you activate it with energy, you send a message that you are ready for life to respond with the same energy. The smallest physical rituals compound into a mindset of unstoppable forward motion. Consider how successful people carry themselves. Their posture, their stride, their gestures radiate confidence and prosperity. This is not an accident. It is the embodiment of an internal state that began with movement. When you stand tall, breathe deeply, and walk with intention, you are rehearsing abundance in your body. Over time, your body language shapes your self-image, and your self-image shapes your destiny. You begin to think like someone who deserves success. You begin to act like someone who creates wealth, and eventually you begin to live as someone who embodies prosperity. The practice of energizing the body also creates resilience. Challenges are inevitable, but when your body is trained to carry energy, you meet those challenges with strength instead of weakness. You handle stress more effectively, recover faster from setbacks, and maintain a mindset of growth rather than defeat. Movement builds more than muscle. It builds stamina for life. This stamina becomes a hidden asset on your journey to abundance, because prosperity is not a single event. It is the ability to keep moving forward regardless of obstacles. Make movement a daily ritual for the next 30 days. Do it with intention, not as a chore, but as a declaration. Each stretch, each breath, each step is a statement that you are alive, you are capable, and you are moving toward prosperity. Let your body carry the message that abundance is your natural state. As you activate your energy, notice how people respond differently to you, how opportunities appear more frequently, how your mind becomes sharper and your emotions steadier. Prosperity is not just something you think about, it is something you embody. And when your body radiates energy, your entire life begins to reflect it. Movement is not separate from wealth. It is a form of wealth. Energy is the first currency, and when you generate it daily, you build the foundation upon which every other form of prosperity can rest. By making movement and energy a non-negotiable ritual, you align your body, mind, and spirit with abundance. And when all three are aligned, prosperity is no longer something you chase. It is something you live. Topic 8. Consistency and discipline. Building the abundance habit. If there is one principle that separates those who dream from those who live their dreams, it is consistency. Abundance is not created in a single breakthrough moment. It is cultivated through repeated action, day after day, until what once felt like effort becomes a natural rhythm. Discipline is the force that makes this possible. Without it, even the most inspiring vision will fade, and even the most powerful intention will dissolve. With it, prosperity becomes inevitable, because the momentum you build cannot be stopped. Consistency and discipline are the twin engines of abundance, and when you embrace them, you set yourself apart from the vast majority who give up too soon. Think about how habits are formed. At first, a new practice feels uncomfortable. Waking up early, writing in a journal, repeating affirmations, or exercising may feel forced. The mind resists, the body complains, and the old patterns try to pull you back into familiar routines. But every time you repeat the new action, you weaken the old habit and strengthen the new one. Over time, what once felt unnatural becomes automatic. This is how abundance habits are born. They are not created overnight, but through discipline that transforms repetition into identity. You stop trying to be consistent and simply become someone who lives consistently. Discipline is often misunderstood as something harsh, restrictive, or punishing, but true discipline is an act of freedom. It is the ability to choose long-term reward over short-term comfort. It is the power to act in alignment with your vision even when you don't feel like it. This kind of discipline liberates you from the cycle of starting and stopping, from being controlled by moods, distractions, or excuses. Each time you follow through on a commitment, you build trust with yourself. That trust compounds, creating self-respect and confidence, and those qualities attract abundance. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel, because you are no longer a prisoner of inconsistency. Success in any field, business, health, relationships, or wealth, belongs to those who stay the course. Ideas are easy, intentions are common. What is rare is the individual who shows up every single day, no matter what. When you commit to 30 days of consistent daily rituals, you are training yourself to be that rare individual. You are telling your subconscious and the universe that you can be trusted to sustain prosperity. Abundance does not come to those who treat it as a part-time interest. It comes to those who are all in, who practice until prosperity becomes their nature. The most powerful thing about consistency is that it compounds. Missing a day may not seem catastrophic, but it creates cracks in the foundation. On the other hand, small wins stacked daily create exponential results. A single affirmation spoken once will not transform your life, but affirmations spoken daily for 30 days can begin to rewire your entire identity. One workout will not change your body, but daily movement will reshape your energy and health. One act of gratitude is a nice gesture, but gratitude practiced every morning will recalibrate your outlook on life. Discipline turns repetition into transformation, and transformation turns into abundance. It is also important to remember that discipline does not require perfection. It requires persistence. You do not need to perform flawlessly every day. You only need to keep going. Abundance is not destroyed by a missed step. It is destroyed by quitting altogether. When you stumble, the key is to return immediately to your practice. This resilience is the real power of discipline. It allows you to continue building momentum even in the face of challenges. And momentum is what carries you across the finish line when motivation alone has faded. Consistency also builds credibility, not just with yourself, but with others. People are drawn to those who are reliable, who follow through on promises, who live in alignment with their words. Opportunities flow more easily to people who show up consistently, because consistency signals strength and integrity. Discipline becomes magnetic, attracting the trust and respect of those around you, and that trust opens doors that remain closed to the inconsistent. Over the next 30 days, think of consistency and discipline as your superpower. They are not glamorous, and they are rarely celebrated, but they are the silent forces behind every success story. Each day you show up for your rituals. You are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Each repetition reinforces your identity as someone who lives in abundance. Eventually, your rituals stop being something you do and start being who you are. At that point, prosperity is no longer a goal you chase. It is a habit you live. Topic 9. Tracking your progress. Measuring abundance in 30 days. One of the greatest mistakes people make on the journey to abundance is failing to measure their progress. Without reflection, it becomes easy to dismiss the changes happening in your life, to overlook the subtle shifts that are leading you toward prosperity. The mind tends to magnify what is missing while minimizing what is growing. This is why keeping track of your progress is not only a practical tool, but a psychological necessity. By measuring abundance over 30 days, you anchor yourself in the evidence of transformation, and that evidence reinforces your belief that prosperity is real and expanding in your life. Tracking your progress begins with awareness. Each day you commit to your rituals. You are planting seeds of abundance. But those seeds often sprout in quiet ways before they blossom in dramatic results. Maybe you feel a little more confident in a meeting, or you notice that your mood is more stable throughout the day. Perhaps an opportunity arises that would have gone unnoticed if you hadn't been practicing gratitude and visualization. By writing these experiences down, you capture proof that abundance is not a vague concept, but a growing reality. Over time, these notes become a record of your evolution. And nothing strengthens belief like seeing your own growth in writing. Think of it like financial accounting. Successful businesses track every transaction because they know that what gets measured gets managed. In the same way, When you measure your personal growth and your manifestations, you manage them more effectively. You see patterns emerge. You recognize which rituals create the most impact. You notice how consistency and gratitude improves your relationships, how affirmations shift your confidence, how movement changes your energy. By tracking, you give yourself feedback, and feedback accelerates progress. Another benefit of tracking is motivation. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when results seem distant, and when your old habits try to pull you back. In those moments, your written record becomes your anchor. Flipping through your journal, you will see evidence that you are not the same person you were at the start of the 30 days. Even if external circumstances haven't shifted dramatically yet, you will see internal victories. Moments when you responded differently to stress, when you chose gratitude instead of complaint, when you acted with courage instead of fear. These are signs that abundance is taking root, and they fuel your commitment to keep going. Tracking also trains your mind to look for abundance. When you know you are going to write something down each day, you become more attentive to positive shifts. Instead of focusing on problems, your mind starts scanning for wins. Even small ones count. A compliment from a colleague, an unexpected discount, a feeling of peace during meditation. By noticing and recording them, you strengthen the neural pathways that associate life with abundance. Over time, this rewires your subconscious to expect prosperity, and what you expect, you attract. There is a profound shift that happens when you review your progress at the end of 30 days. What once seemed like small, disconnected moments reveal themselves as a pattern of growth. You begin to see how every ritual, affirmations, visualization, gratitude, movement, consistency, has worked together to reshape your reality. You realize that abundance is not a sudden miracle, but a gradual accumulation of aligned actions. This realization is powerful because it shows you that prosperity is not beyond your control. It is something you can create, track, and expand deliberately. Some people resist tracking because they fear it will expose their lack of progress, but the truth is the opposite. Even if results appear small, the act of tracking transforms perception. It helps you appreciate progress you might otherwise ignore. It prevents discouragement and replaces it with perspective. The point of measuring is not to judge yourself harshly, but to celebrate growth and correct course when necessary. Every day becomes meaningful when it is part of a larger story of transformation. At the end of your 30-day practice, look back at your journal or notes. Notice how your language has shifted, how your energy has evolved, how your mindset has strengthened. You may see external results, new opportunities, financial improvements, stronger relationships, but you will definitely see internal results. Greater clarity, stronger confidence, deeper peace. These are the foundations of sustainable abundance. They prove to you that prosperity is not just arriving. It is already here, unfolding day by day. Tracking your progress is not just about keeping score. It is about building certainty. Certainty is the foundation of manifestation. When you know you are growing, you stop questioning whether abundance will come and start trusting that it already is. That trust changes everything. It frees you from impatience and doubt, replacing them with faith and consistency. And faith combined with consistent action is the formula for unstoppable prosperity. So, over these 30 days, write it down, measure it, notice it, celebrate it. Let your progress remind you that abundance is not a destination you reach someday. It is a journey you are already walking, and by tracking it, you ensure that each step becomes a permanent part of your abundant new reality. Topic 10. Environmental alignment. Designing space, inputs, and relationships for abundance. If your rituals are the engine of abundance, your environment is the road you drive on. You can have the strongest intention in the world, but if you are surrounded by noise, clutter, negative inputs, and relationships that drain you, your progress will always feel like swimming upstream. Abundance is not just a mindset, it is a setting. The room you wake up in, the apps you open, the conversations you tolerate, the objects within your reach. All of them carry a frequency that either accelerates prosperity or subtly sabotages it. Once you understand this, you stop treating environment as background and start treating it as strategy. You begin curating your world so that it reflects the future you are creating, not the past you are leaving behind. Look around the space where you begin your day. Does it invite clarity or chaos? The first images your eyes meet in the morning program your subconscious to either expand or contract. A room bathed in natural light, a surface with only what you need for your morning ritual, a scent that signals calm and focus. These are not luxuries. They are cues. Your nervous system reads them faster than your conscious mind can form a thought. A tidy desk tells your brain you are in command. A made bed tells your body the day has begun with order. A journal within arm's reach tells your identity that you are a person who reflects, plans, and creates. When you remove friction from the first 20 minutes of your morning, you remove resistance from the rest of your day. Environment is not just physical space. It is informational diet. The accounts you follow, the messages you consume, the notifications you allow, these are as real as furniture. If the first voices you hear are frantic, fearful, or cynical, your energy will bend that way before you can defend it. Abundance requires a different stream. You choose inputs that elevate, ideas that expand possibility, stories that reinforce resilience, mentors who normalize prosperity without arrogance. When you curate what enters your mind, you are not avoiding reality. You are choosing which reality to amplify. You understand that attention is the most valuable currency you own, and you invest it with intention because every investment compounds. Then there are the people. Relationships are environments in motion. Some conversations leave you lighter and larger, others leave you contracted and uncertain. It is not about judging people as good or bad. It is about recognizing resonance. Spend time with those who live in alignment. People who turn commitments into results, who celebrate your progress without envy, who challenge you without shaming you, who speak in the grammar of growth. When you are consistently around individuals who embody abundance, your nervous system learns that prosperity is safe, normal, and possible. This is not networking for its own sake. This is calibrating your frequency through proximity. Objects also carry story. The watch on your wrist, the chair you sit in, the pen you write with, the art on your wall, these are anchors. If they remind you of scarcity, they pull you backward. If they symbolize standards, they pull you forward. You don't need excess, you need intentionality. One well-chosen object can become a ritual in itself. A glass of water on a marble coaster that reminds you to hydrate before caffeine, a candle that marks the moment you begin visualization, a leather notebook that holds only your most important goals. Minimalism here is not an aesthetic. It is strategy to keep your mind clear and your energy elevated. Environment also includes your calendar. The way you arrange time is the architecture of your life. If your days are carved into fragments by constant interruptions, your mind can never reach depth. Abundance grows in focused stretches, windows where your attention is uninterrupted and your action is precise. Protect those windows the way you protect your identity, because in many ways, they are the same. A day that prioritizes your rituals, your deep work, and your recovery will compound into a life that feels like momentum instead of maintenance. Finally, there is the environment within. Breath, posture, gaze, these are micro settings that change your state in seconds. Breathing slowly through the nose signals safety. Standing tall signals readiness. Softening your gaze signals openness. These are subtle switches that tell your body it is time to receive abundance, rather than brace against threat. When you pair inner environment with outer environment, you create harmony. Your space supports your state supports your actions, and your actions reinforce your identity. That loop is abundance in motion. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a designer of conditions. When your environment becomes a mirror of your intention, friction falls away. You move through the day with less effort and more effect. The world feels responsive, not resistant. And that responsiveness is not luck. It is the byproduct of alignment. Build the room, shape the inputs, choose the company, set the cues. Then watch how prosperity stops being a peak you occasionally reach and starts being the ground you continually stand on. Topic 11. Aligned action and value exchange, turning purpose into prosperity. Abundance is not a passive experience. It is a living exchange between who you are, what you create, and the value you circulate. Visualization primes the mind. Affirmations tune the identity. Gratitude opens the heart. Movement energizes the body. Consistency stabilizes the path. But prosperity flowers when your inner alignment meets outer action in service of real needs. The world rewards clarity, usefulness, and courage. When you transform purpose into tangible value, solutions that ease pain, ideas that unlock productivity, experiences that elevate people, money becomes a measure of resonance, not a measure of worth. You stop chasing income and start building impact, and income follows impact the way shadows follow light. To live this way, you first release the outdated story that wealth arrives only through force or luck. Instead, you adopt the quiet conviction that ethical prosperity is created through contribution. You begin asking better questions. Where am I uniquely qualified to solve a real problem? What capabilities come naturally to me that feel like oxygen but look like genius to someone else? How can I package those capabilities so they are easy to understand, easy to try, and easy to say yes to? These questions turn vague ambition into specific offers. An offer is simply a bridge from your purpose to another person's progress. When the bridge is strong, both sides rise. Aligned action is not frantic. It is precise. It does not try to be everywhere. It commits to where it can matter most. You choose a channel you can master, a cadence you can sustain, and a standard you refuse to compromise. You make space for deep work so quality compounds. You design feedback loops so reality can teach you faster than ego can fool you. You iterate in public, not to chase applause, but to shorten the distance between insight and improvement. In this rhythm, momentum stops being a mystery. It becomes the predictable result of showing up with value, listening without defensiveness, and adjusting without drama. Money in this frame is not an outcome to tolerate or a taboo to avoid. Money is a clean signal. It tells you where value is felt, where offers are clear, where trust is strong. If the signal is faint, you don't spiral into shame. You strengthen the signal. You refine your promise so it is unmistakable. You remove friction from the path to a yes. You elevate the experience after a yes so referrals become inevitable. You build assets, documents, demos, designs, processes that keep working when you are not. You let generosity lead, not as performance, but as policy. Teach more than you think you should. Follow up more than most people will. Deliver more than you promised. Generosity is not the opposite of profit. It is the engine of reputation, and reputation is the compound interest of value. Aligned action also honors seasons. There are seasons for planting ideas, seasons for nurturing relationships, seasons for harvesting revenue, and seasons for resting the field. When you accept seasons, you stop forcing outcomes on yesterday's schedule. You plan with horizons in mind. This week for commitments, this month for experiments, this quarter for growth, this year for mastery. The daily ritual keeps your spirit calibrated. The seasonal plan keeps your strategy coherent. Together they produce a rare feeling, calm ambition. You are urgent with effort and patient with payoff because you trust the math of consistency more than the drama of impulse. Most importantly, you let identity lead behavior, not the other way around. You move like a professional long before the world calls you one. You speak as the future you, act as the future you, price as the future you, structure agreements as the future you. This is not pretense. It is alignment. When you honor the standards of the person you are becoming, you compress time. Doors open that stayed shut for your former self because you are finally knocking like the person who belongs on the other side. People feel that signal. They sense reliability in your presence, clarity in your proposals, and integrity in your follow-through. Opportunities prefer homes of stability. Abundance, then, is not a trick of thought. It is a choreography of truth. You know who you are, you pursue what matters, you build what helps, you charge with clean hands, you deliver with full heart, and you reinvest with wisdom. The loop tightens. Purpose fuels value. Value fuels income. Income fuels freedom. Freedom fuels deeper purpose. When that loop spins without guilt or greed, prosperity becomes sustainable because it serves more than self. You become a conduit, not a container, and conduits never clog. They flow. Topic 12. The Covenant of Abundance, a powerful conclusion. If you have traveled this far, you already know abundance is not a trick of luck or language. It is a covenant you enter with yourself, a binding agreement that your thoughts will serve your future, your rituals will honor your identity, your actions will express your purpose, and your presence will elevate every room you enter. Over these 30 days, you have learned to wake with intention, to reprogram the subconscious with the images and words of prosperity, to seed your day with gratitude, to move your body into energy, to speak affirmations into identity, to build consistency into momentum, to measure progress into certainty, and to live prosperity as your new normal. You have felt the quiet dignity that arrives when chaos no longer runs your morning, when scarcity no longer dictates your decisions, when fear no longer disguises itself as caution. You have watched coincidence turn into pattern, and pattern turn into proof. Now the question is not whether abundance works. The question is whether you will keep the covenant. Keeping it does not require perfection. It requires presence. There will be days when your plan shakes, when interruptions demand attention, when old stories tap on the window of your mind and ask to be let back in. On those days, you return to the ritual as you would return home. You sit in silence long enough to hear something wiser than your worry. You write until your thoughts organize themselves around truth. You visualize until your nervous system remembers where you are going. You move until your blood carries confidence again. You speak until your words sound like your future. You do not wait for motivation to rescue you. You lead yourself with commitment. That is what adults of destiny do. They keep their word to the person in the mirror. There is a deeper layer to this covenant, one that reaches beyond goals and into meaning. Abundance becomes stable when it is shared. The moment prosperity exists only for you, it becomes fragile. The moment it flows through you, it becomes inexhaustible. You were not designed to hoard gifts. You were designed to multiply them. So you begin to ask a larger question each morning. Who benefits when I am fully alive today? Whose path becomes clearer because I did my work with excellence? Whose burden becomes lighter because I chose generosity over pride? Purpose is the ultimate stabilizer of abundance, because purpose gives surplus somewhere to go. From this day forward, you will notice a shift in how you measure wealth. You will count clarity as capital, because a clear mind makes clean decisions. You will count integrity as capital, because trust unlocks doors talent cannot. You will count vitality as capital, because energy turns ideas into outcomes. You will count attention as capital, because where you place it shapes your fate. And you will count time as sacred capital, because how you arrange your hours is how you arrange your life. When you account for wealth this way, money is no longer the only scoreboard. It becomes one of many reflections of a life well aligned. Do not be surprised if new opportunities appear in places that once felt barren. Do not be surprised if people remark that your presence feels different, that your voice sounds steadier, that your decisions land with more certainty. You will recognize these as confirmations, not compliments. They are signals that your inner world and outer world are finally in conversation. And in that conversation, you are fluent. You speak the language of gratitude without waiting for reasons. You speak the language of vision without apologizing for scale. You speak the language of action without needing an audience. You speak the language of wealth without staining it with shame. This fluency is your passport. It grants you entry into rooms that require responsibility and reward those who carry it well. When you began, abundance might have felt like an experiment. Now it feels like a vow. Carry it with the reverence it deserves and the playfulness it invites. Let your rituals be both sacred and practical, your plans both bold and flexible, your heart both tender and strong. Stand in the middle of your life like a person who knows they are trusted with much, and therefore will create much. Because abundance is not just something you have, it is something you steward. And stewardship is the honor of the awake. Close your eyes for a breath and seal this covenant. Not with grand gestures, but with the simple promise to keep showing up. To the morning, to the work, to the people, to the possibility inside every ordinary day. The code is not hidden. You have it now. Live it until the lines blur between ritual and reality, between practice and personality, between prosperity and who you are. Then look up, months from now, and smile at the life that met you in the middle. It was never luck. It was always you, aligned, consistent, generous, and ready. Topic 13. Emotional wealth, the inner currency of abundance. When most people think of abundance, they measure it in numbers, possessions, or status. But what often gets overlooked is the most fundamental currency of all: emotional wealth. Emotional wealth is the ability to experience joy, peace, resilience, and fulfillment regardless of external circumstances. It is the emotional foundation that makes financial and material prosperity sustainable instead of fleeting. Without it, even the highest income can feel like poverty, and with it, even modest beginnings can feel like richness. The daily rituals of abundance are not only designed to shift your thoughts and actions, they are designed to cultivate an emotional state that becomes unshakable no matter what life presents. Consider the contrast between two people with similar resources. One lives in constant worry, comparing themselves to others, chasing validation, and fearing loss. The other lives with calm assurance, grateful for progress, confident in their ability to adapt, and open to opportunities with excitement instead of doubt. Both might earn the same paycheck or live in similar conditions, but their experience of life is radically different. Emotional wealth determines how you interpret reality, and that interpretation shapes every choice you make. When you are emotionally poor, you sabotage opportunities by doubting yourself, mistrusting others, or acting from fear. When you are emotionally wealthy, you act boldly, trust wisely, and carry yourself with the kind of energy that attracts more prosperity into your orbit. The rituals you have been practicing, gratitude, visualization, affirmations, movement, are not just tools to manifest external results. They are practices that cultivate emotional wealth day by day. Gratitude rewires your nervous system away from stress and into appreciation. Visualization gives you emotional rehearsal for success, so the feelings of joy and certainty become familiar long before the evidence appears. Affirmations allow you to embody emotions of strength and confidence through language, while movement unlocks vitality that directly feeds into emotional stability. Together, they form a system of emotional prosperity that cannot be easily shaken by circumstance. Emotional wealth is also about resilience, the ability to face setbacks without collapsing into despair. Life will not always unfold according to plan. Opportunities may be delayed, relationships may shift, circumstances may test your patience. But emotional wealth means that your state does not collapse when outcomes are uncertain. Instead, you hold your center. You remember that abundance is not conditional on a single event, but is the natural result of alignment, consistency, and faith. Emotional wealth is like having savings in a bank account. When external events withdraw energy from you, you still have reserves. You don't operate in desperation because your inner resources are strong. Another dimension of emotional wealth is the capacity to experience joy in the present moment. Too often, people delay happiness until some milestone is achieved, until the promotion arrives, until the debt is cleared, until the perfect house is purchased. But abundance that only exists in the future is never truly abundance. It is always postponed. Emotional wealth means extracting joy from the journey, celebrating small wins, and finding richness in daily moments. When you live this way, the future becomes even brighter because your present state is already vibrating at the frequency of prosperity. Joy now becomes the magnet for joy later. Relationships also flourish when you build emotional wealth. Scarcity breeds envy, conflict, and transactional thinking. But when you are emotionally wealthy, you approach relationships from a place of generosity and trust. You no longer measure every interaction by what you can extract, but by what you can contribute. This energy transforms the quality of your connections and, in turn, attracts more opportunities, collaborations, and support. People feel safe around those who are emotionally abundant. They sense steadiness, they sense positivity, and they naturally gravitate toward it. In this way, emotional wealth is not only a personal asset, but also a social magnet. The truth is, emotional wealth cannot be bought, but it can be built. It is built through daily choices, through the decision to focus on gratitude instead of complaint, to choose possibility over fear, to practice patience over desperation, to celebrate progress instead of fixating on lack. Each choice is like depositing into an emotional bank account, and over time, those deposits compound into stability, peace, and joy that external circumstances cannot easily take away. When emotional wealth becomes your baseline, financial wealth becomes easier to create and easier to keep, because you no longer make decisions from panic or lack. You operate from clarity and strength, and that clarity is priceless. As you move deeper into your journey of abundance, remember that prosperity is not only measured by what sits in your account or what you can hold in your hands. It is also measured by the calm you carry into a storm, the joy you find in a sunrise, the resilience you show when faced with a challenge, and the love you share without fear of running out. This is emotional wealth, and it is the foundation upon which all other forms of abundance rest. Build it daily, protect it fiercely, and watch as it transforms not just your success, but your entire experience of being alive. Topic 14. Living abundance, making prosperity your new normal. The ultimate goal of 30 days of daily rituals is not just to create temporary change, but to establish a new identity, a new way of living where prosperity becomes natural. Abundance should not be something you chase, something you experience in rare moments or fleeting glimpses. It should be the ground you stand on, the lens through which you see life, the energy you carry into every situation. Living abundance means that prosperity is no longer an extraordinary event, but an ordinary state of being. It is who you are. When you begin this journey, abundance feels like a destination. It is something you aspire to, something you hope to attract. But as you practice gratitude, visualization, affirmations, and consistent movement, something profound happens. Your identity shifts. You stop seeing prosperity as something external and start realizing it is generated within. Instead of waiting for evidence, you live as if the evidence is already here. This shift is the key to making abundance your new normal. Prosperity ceases to be a goal and becomes a lifestyle. Living abundance does not mean denying challenges. It does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means approaching challenges with a prosperous mindset. It means that when difficulties appear, you do not collapse into fear or scarcity, but face them with confidence, resourcefulness, and faith that solutions will present themselves. This mindset is not naive. It is powerful. It allows you to respond differently, to act from a place of stability instead of panic. And when you respond with abundance, life mirrors that response with opportunities, support, and unexpected breakthroughs. There is a subtle but powerful difference between visiting abundance and living it. When you only visit abundance, you practice rituals occasionally. You feel inspired for a moment, but then you return to old patterns of scarcity. When you live abundance, the rituals are no longer separate practices. They are part of your identity. Gratitude becomes automatic. Affirmations flow naturally. Visualization feels effortless. Your body craves movement. Consistency is second nature. In this state, prosperity stops being fragile and becomes inevitable. One of the signs that you are living abundance is the way you carry yourself. People will notice something different about you. Your posture, your tone of voice, the way you handle stress, the confidence with which you make decisions. Prosperity radiates through presence. Others may call it charisma, energy, or confidence, but at its core, it is simply abundance embodied. When you live this way, you not only transform your own life, but also inspire others. Your energy becomes contagious, and you naturally elevate the people around you. Living abundance also means enjoying prosperity in its many forms, not just financial. It shows up in your health, in the quality of your relationships, in the peace you feel when you wake up in the morning. It shows up in the opportunities that come easily, the synchronicities that guide you, the sense of flow that replaces struggle. When prosperity is your normal, you begin to trust life more deeply. You stop doubting whether good things are coming and start expecting them, knowing that you are aligned with them already. That expectation creates a cycle of continuous abundance. Making prosperity your new normal requires conscious reinforcement, but it is not complicated. It is simply a matter of choosing abundance every day. When you wake up, you choose gratitude. When you look in the mirror, you choose affirmations. When challenges appear, you choose the perspective of growth. When opportunities arrive, you choose courage. With repetition, those choices become habits, and those habits become identity. Over time, you no longer need to remind yourself to live abundantly. You simply do. The beauty of this transformation is that it is sustainable. Unlike a sudden burst of motivation that fades, living abundance builds a foundation. It is not dependent on circumstances. Whether the day is smooth or difficult, whether opportunities flow easily or require patience, your identity as someone who lives in prosperity remains steady. This stability is the real reward of the 30-day journey. It means you can continue to grow without fear of losing what you have gained. At the end of 30 days, when you look back, you will notice the shift. Prosperity will no longer feel like a distant dream. It will feel like home. The rituals you practiced will have reprogrammed your subconscious, reshaped your beliefs, and strengthened your confidence. You will realize that abundance has always been available, waiting for you to claim it fully. And now, by living it daily, you have turned prosperity into your natural state. Living abundance is not about reaching a finish line. It is about embracing a lifestyle. It is about walking through life with the certainty that you are connected to prosperity at every moment. It is about carrying yourself with confidence, acting with clarity, and trusting that everything you need is within reach. When abundance is your new normal, you no longer ask if prosperity will come. You know it is already here, woven into your thoughts, your actions, and your identity. That is the true power of daily rituals. They do not just change what you do, they change who you are. And when you become abundance itself, prosperity is no longer temporary, it is permanent. You've just completed a powerful journey into the rituals that can transform your next 30 days into a foundation of lasting abundance. Remember, abundance isn't something you chase, it's something you choose, practice, and embody every single day. Now it's your turn. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, leave a comment sharing your insights, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss the next step on your path to success and prosperity. And most importantly, share this video with someone you care about. You never know whose life might change just by hearing these words. Your new life of abundance begins the moment you decide it does. So decide now, step forward, live it, because prosperity is not in the future. It is already here, waiting for you to embrace it fully.